Hello ladies and gentlemen, what I have for you today is a Kerbal Space Program stock vehicle that transports a crew of 3 from Kerbal Space Center to the surface of the Mun and back without losing any parts. It's a single stage to lunar surface and back. The first part of the ascent profile is air breathing. The object is to get as high as possible, as fast as possible, until your air intake falls to 0.33. At 0.32 it flames out. So any higher you flame out, any lower you're subjecting yourself to drag. When you can't go farther on jets, you'll see this soon. The vehicle pitches up and fires engines. The chemical engine only for a very short amount of time to increase the altitude suddenly so that the nuclear rockets can get to orbit on their own. Wait for it. This is the most critical time of the entire trajectory. There we go. Center engine is only fired for long enough to increase the vertical velocity to a very specific value, and then it's shut off and the nuclear engines do the rest of the job. This is at 20 times speed, by the way. The lunar transfer orbit is fairly standard. Well, it is standard. The lunar parking orbit is as low as possible. Ideally, if you were good enough that you could land directly from transfer orbit, that would be the most efficient, but in general, low parking orbit, more efficient landing. I had a bad ascent, so it cut into my fuel reserve, so the landing you're about to see, ooh, pretty. Had to be a pretty efficient profile, you'll see that. That pause there was to work some numbers on this big old whiteboard I have in front of me, because really I didn't want to waste anything. It's not the most efficient, by the way. The most efficient descent is really difficult to do on a keyboard or a joystick. Yeah, okay, so this is real time now. And watch. Rockets all on, then it touches the surface, then rockets all off. No feathering at all. It's the most efficient vertical descent. Does that count? Booyah. Of course, the trajectory was worked out in orbit, so there was some lateral velocity, as you can see there. Nothing RCS can't handle. Ladders down, astronauts out. That rock looks interesting. This guy's pretty bad at moving, apparently. How did he become an astronaut? And let's do some science. Or putting a flag out. That's what we came for, the photo shoot. This guy wants to see if there's anything interesting around, an arch, a monolith, a big old cavern, something interesting. This is real time again. And there wasn't. Alright, you can pretend they stayed here for longer, but there's not much to do on planets. Or celestial bodies. Oh, I forgot to give you guys a tour. And the moon seems like a good place to do it. Okay. 8 turbojets, each with 4 air intakes, 4 nuclear rockets, and as of version 2.0, that big chemical rocket in the center is the skipper. Good compromise between thrust and specific impulse. Alrighty. The optimal ascent profile in an airless world turns over immediately. You only give yourself enough vertical thrust to clear any obstacles along your way. Pretty, that's real time again. I love Kerbal. Transkerbal injection took some doing because, again, I was running low on fuel. wasn't a perfect descent. Aero braking is not something I'd really done before, so it took 4 passes. I'm working on it. It's a work in progress. Okay. Something I really love about KSP is how seamlessly it deals with these hugely different scales. A second ago that was a planet, now it's a landscape. And when I say seamlessly, it really is seamless too. There are no seams. Normally I like to use the rocket to land, but I was running low on fuel, so I decided to use the jets. The jets are much less responsive. It takes some time to spin up and down, so that when I got to the very bottom, I used the nuclear rockets. Beautiful. This thing can also land in water. It's light enough that it floats, so it wasn't critical that I missed the ocean, but it looks cooler. Alright, now look at my fancy graphics. Thanks for watching.